So we know that, that's where it all begins, right?
Well, I need to put a qualification. Mecca is the root of civilization. See, they stress that, right? Mr. Guthrie stresses that Mecca, he says, didn't exist in ancient times. That Mecca only appeared on maps in after the 4th century. And so Master Fard Muhammad could not have been talking about Mecca when he described the root of civilization. That is wrong. Because he misrepresents, as I said yesterday, he misrepresents the supreme wisdom. And some of us who I'm seeing aren't careful with our read of the supreme wisdom, and so we fall victim to his false logic. But let's be real clear. Look at so the argument is the lessons can't be speaking of Mecca as the root of civilization, even though it says Mecca. The lessons can't really mean Mecca because Mecca wasn't a geographical item on anybody's map until after the 4th century. That's wrong for a number of reasons. Let's actually read the lesson. See, nuance is critical. Let me say this. The devil is a liar. And so when it said that the devil is in the details, well, that's the devil lying and beating his chest. No, God is in the details. God is in the details, and truth is in the nuance. And Mr. Paul Guthrie is successful, most successful with those who don't think in a nuanced fashion. I'm sorry, I mean to be insulting, but those who are most enwrapped in Mr. Paul Guthrie's narrative, it is because they aren't too nuanced in their thinking, and he relies on that. But we have to be nuanced in our thinking. We have to be cognizant of the nuances because truth resides in the nuances and God is in the details. So what do I mean by that? So let's go after the lessons. Let's go after this Mecca thing. Why isn't the devil settled on the best part of the planet Earth? Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1. Because the earth belongs to the original black man, and knowing that the devil was wicked, and there would not be any peace among them, he put him out in the worst part of the earth and kept the best part preserved for himself ever since he made it. Now here is where the mischief and the slip is made. It says the best part is in Arabia, comma, at the holy city, but then it does something else, something very important that people miss. At the holy city, it doesn't just say Mecca. At the holy city, Mecca in parentheses. That's very important. The best part is in Arabia. He didn't put Arabia in parentheses. Why didn't he put Arabia in parentheses? Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the name Arabia, white folks didn't give that land that name. We called, the original people of that land, called that land Arabia. So that's an indigenous name, so it's not put in parentheses. The best part is in Arabia at the holy city. That's it. Where's the holy city? He puts in parentheses Mecca because it wasn't necessarily called Mecca at the time. That's what we call it today. So it's separated with parentheses, calling attention to the fact that, yeah, Mecca, but that's not necessarily the ancient designation of the land. So Mr. Paul Guthrie harping on the fact that the name Mecca only appears in late antique sources to suggest that that area that is now called Mecca was not a thriving center of civilization, was not a holy city in its day. That's faulty logic. He said Mecca in parentheses. So there's a qualification. It's a caveat there. And the reason I'm suggesting that there's a caveat there, he just didn't identify it as such, because we know that in ancient times, whereas while that land was called by us Arabia, the whole of the land, it's not necessarily the case that the holy city was called by us originally Mecca, because the Quran says it was, before it was called Mecca, it was called Becca. So we know as a matter of fact that Mecca is not the original name of the holy city. Before it was called Mecca, it was called Becca. So that's why it's in parentheses to tip the hat. So to harp on the name Mecca is faulty logic. And one more point I would like to make on that. I saw a brother say, I want to reiterate this, 2,200 miles. This is very important. That was the linchpin of Mr. Guthrie's argument. And it's the argument that has so bedazzled the nation of gods and earths. You know, they're so bedazzled. It's really embarrassing. Peace to the gods and earths, but with due respect, the spell that Mr. Paul Guthrie has put on you gods and earths from the NGE, it's really a bad look for you. It really is. I just got to say. He got such a spell on so many of you. It's really a bad look for you, because we supposed to be the gods, critical thinkers. But he so easily hoodwinked so many of you who claim the seven, the sun, the moon, and the star. He's been able to bedazzle so many of you. It's really a bad look, and he bedazzles you with this point of the 2,200 miles. Now I want to talk about that, and I end this on that. It's really important. So his whole argument is that the root of civilization, and let me be real clear, from archaeological, anthropological, and climatological evidence, historical, traditional evidence, the root of civilization is in Arabia. The root of civilization is not in India. The root of civilization is not in the Indus Valley. Mr. Guthrie asked the question regarding Indus Valley in Arabia. Which is the root, which is the branch? Well, we can answer that definitively. The root is Arabia. The branch is the Indus Valley. Oh, I'm excited to demonstrate that. So just on a factual, archaeological, historical perspective, the root of civilization is in Arabia. Now, he makes the claim that according to the lessons, the root of civilization